don't talk about corrupt Christians either. Enough.
You said corrupt Christians?
Yes.
Yeah, tell them why you don't go to church, Luke. Tell them.
I tell you, the institution of church, how it's been presented now in the churches that I grew up in, it's hard for me to find that. It's hard for me to find it. I think church, like everything else, has gotten commercialized. It's gotten to a place where it's about currency. It's about content. You see in the preachers being more and more showful, being more of showmen than men of God. You know, it's become more of a contest. It's become more of entertainment than getting the actual word. So I prefer to do mine independent opposed to going into a church that I don't consider a house of God, and a lot of those buildings and how they carry. That's me personally.
That's the reality of spirituality in 2025. Though, is a lot of it is for currency, for clicks, and for content. And people who see that can be turned off to the whole idea of church. And also, you get turned off to the idea of church if it seems like church is only supposed to take place inside the four walls. You hear me? Yeah. The thing that really makes church is when the church meets and gathers in them four walls. That ain't nothing but practice, you know what I'm saying? That's practice for the basketball team. But then the team got to go travel, and the team got to go out and say, man, we got games to go play. Right. And we got to get out here and actually like practice in real life what we've been practicing behind the scenes. Feel me? And I don't think that a lot of people are seeing the church out and about in a way that they, because watch this, somebody who watching this because of y'all is gonna be like, man, I didn't even know who D1 was before that interview. I rock with Lil Daddy, you heard me? I rock with him tough. I'm gonna go listen to the music, I'm gonna go follow him, da-da-da. And because of that, because of y'all, and because of giving me this platform, they are going to now tap in with me, right? Yes. Moving forward. That is how it's supposed to be when the church is actually in the real world and the members of the church are shining their God-given light in the real world, because now people are drawn to your light. Right. You feel me? The anointing that we have is attractive, bro. When you got that it factor about you, it's very attractive to people, and they be like, I like you. You're different. You know, what is it about you? And then when you can tell people, oh man, I'm just trying to be like Jesus, you heard me?
Listen, I really enjoyed that conversation. For one, you know, how people view the church is kind of like a twofold conversation, right? I think there's some honesty in what he said, but then there's also some dishonesty in what the first guy said. Him saying that there's a lot of showmanship, a lot of competition, you know, just the presentation of the church as a body of believers has become super business focused, which I'm not opposed to the business part of church being taken care of. But there is, like with anything else, sometimes people are heavy-handed on the business and driving the business and not focused on the part that should be focused on the most. You got to keep the main thing, is a saying I always say. But I do believe there are a lot of churches who have become more business focused, who have become more celebrity pastor driven, more focused on entertainment than actually being committed to the soundness of teaching from the scriptures, being committed to doing things that are God honoring, not for clicks and likes and for more members, but because this is our charge as believers. Now on the flip side, he said because he sees these things, it just pushes him to do more of like his own independent thing. And that's where I believe the dishonesty comes in, because most times people use their grievances with the church as an excuse to not go, when in reality, our grievances should not push us away from our family of faith. If anything, it should draw us more to them and be more committed to serving and helping, like iron out some of the issues that are happening. It's like a family. Like if you have a family, you know, there are issues going on in your home, your family home. The issues shouldn't push you away per se, but rather calls you to love on your family and to serve them and figure out and do things and figure out what solutions will help, solve these problems. I think at the end of the day, when you want to be in God's, with the body of believers, because like the other gentleman at the end said, the church is not necessarily the four walls. It's the people gathered together. So when you want to be part of the church, you don't let anything stop you from being part of it, because this is what God has instituted and this is what we're called to. But when you really don't want to rock with it anyways, you're like, oh, here's a I can throw 10,000 reasons at you as to why I don't go. But the real problem is I really don't want to go anyways. And that's what I think it's just my opinion, based off other conversations I've heard from Lou in his lifestyle and just, kind of his thinking. It's not necessarily that all churches are this way and that he can't find a good church. I just don't think he's looking, and I think his grievances are valid, but he's using them as a tool to distance himself from something he already doesn't want to be part of. It's almost like someone in a relationship with somebody and they don't like them and they want it to be over, so they start doing things, or they start using things that they see the person doing as an excuse to leave. It's like, well, you didn't really want to be here and work through it anyways. You're just kind of using that as a pass. So yeah, that's what I think about that part. And then the last gentleman, D1, who I'm familiar with, I think his analogy was great. I really don't, there's not much I need to say other than I agreed with it. And I think he's spot on about how we as a body of believers, churches where we go to be refreshed, refueled, to worship God, to hear the scriptures, to be reminded, to be encouraged, to find assurance, all those things. But when we come into the real world, that's when we as a body of believers get to live that out. We get to now pour into this dark world. We get to shine our light into this dark world so that other people can know and inquire about Jesus. So that's just, my 2 cents on that. I think that, of course, this conversation is nuanced. And I do want to say this. A lot of times when people are having these grievances with churches, they're not talking about the churches that are smaller or churches that are, because no gathering is perfect, but they're usually talking about the most popular churches in their city or in their state, or that they see even nationally or internationally. Those are the ones they're talking about, and their grievances are with them, not churches that are homegrown, that are, intimate. It's not usually those. They're usually talking about the grand size churches that do these grand things. That can be a turnoff. I mean, even for me as a believer, like I'm not even interested in going to certain churches, even here in my city. Or the city I live in, because I just don't enjoy that presentation. But those are my thoughts on it. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Stand on it, be strong.